Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me in studio, not in the ambulance, not out on location, although we like going out on location, Patrick Anderson, Fitch-Rona EMS Chief.
How are you doing, Jeremy?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
We're doing all right.
I'm so glad you're here. We love talking. Okay, I love talking EMS. Former EMT, I was pretty good back in my day.
Yes.
No, I am excited to have you here. We have a lot to get to today, but just first off, how's everybody doing over there? How y'all doing?
Yeah, I think we're doing okay. We're riding the cold and flu and COVID season out. Increased calls, seeing lots of sick people out there, but I feel like tis the season. Tis the season for what we do.
It was kind of weird because COVID came a little bit earlier and then flu came a little bit later, and I was like, interesting.
We just treat everything like an upper respiratory infection these days, and I say at every department head meeting everywhere, cover your mouth, wash your hands, stay away from sick people, stay home if you're sick.
Stay away from sick people. Well, if we had the cure for that, we wouldn't be sick.
It was only that easy.
That's all right. Well, I'm glad you guys are doing okay, and hopefully everybody washes their hands and keeps away from sick people. We'll start with the new deputy chief position that was added this year. Tell us where we are in that process.
Sure. Seems like it seems like, and it is kind of taken a bit of a time. We posted that last fall and went through a pretty significant hiring process. We're right now kind of narrowing it down to the conditions on an offer, and really excited to have that person. That deputy chief's position is really going to be focused on training. We say training in operations. They're going to take some of those operational things as well, alleviate some of the stuff that myself and Deputy Chief Dostalik are doing. But really it's going to be that focused on training, what we did last month on our point of care ultrasound.
So cool.
Yeah, or POCUS, like we like to call it, point of care ultrasound. That's going to be one of those things, as the other stories we've done, our portable ventilators, our IV pumps. We have got all these great tools, and we just want to make sure that we are using them appropriately, all trained up on them, that at the end of the day, it's about taking care of patients. So making sure that what we are doing is actually, in fact, doing the best for the patients that we possibly can.
Yeah, public safety is all about training. I mean, it's patient care and dealing with the situations in front of you. But when you're not out in the field, you are training. Like, that's your bread and butter.
Absolutely. It talks about the love between the police department, fire department, EMS, about the lounge chairs that exist in the fire department, and the police officers don't get to enjoy those lounger chairs. But you are absolutely right. It's as much as there's downtime, there's as much uptime preparing for those things that might happen.
It's true. And also, too, really, you saw an expansion of service, too. We added another ambulance not too long ago. So, on top of that, I think for bringing in this chief, your service area is grown a little bit because of picking up the town of Madison, staffing, and just the increase of call volume because we have more residents.
Absolutely. You should have pulled those numbers. If you look at the...
I got it for you here.
You can pull them. I know some of that information was gathered for the referendum of what Fitch-Rona looked like over the last 10 years just in the city of Fitchburg. And I don't want to pull that number out of the air, but it was a significant, really significant increase just over the last 10 years, which we knew. That's why
I was going to say, we've been talking about it, but it's when you really look back at it, you're like, oh, man.
Yeah, putting that third ambulance in place, and that was in 2018, I believe. We were talking maybe we hired them in 2018 for the fall of 19, was something like that, opening up that third station, and then, shortly thereafter got those X amount of square miles. We got the old town of Madison, or new Fitchburg, up there, right?
I say it both ways, so it's Fitchburg.
Yeah,
Fitchburg.
It's most areas or most agencies don't get geographical additions these days, so for the city to grow like that, picking up and calling it, and the number continues to rise as we add more residents, more senior housing, more apartment complexes. We just continue to go up, and that's a budget proposal for the next year or two here, is to probably add not a full-time ambulance, but that's in our budget coming up, to add we'll call it a peak time ambulance. We know what our busy times are, and adding another truck in there, we track how many times the city comes in. We've actually had Belleville coming into Verona 2 times already this year, which happens like once every 5 years. So That's not just the city of Fitchburg; it's the city of Verona. The call.
Right, it's the EMS district, so you got. We're serving. You're serving 2 different municipalities, or multiple municipalities at that. So a lot going on there for sure. Yeah. And we'll follow up on that next month. But I do want to go back to the POCUS update, now that I know the official term, POCUS.
POCUS.
Tell us about the ultrasound and where you are in that training. So cool.
Sure.
I mean, it was cool to see.
So we want to make sure that we're doing it right. That too seems to be taking a little bit of time. We've completed all of our full-time staff, has been trained up on it. A huge shout out to our UW docs who came 5 separate times to get all of our staff, the theories behind it, the education behind it, and then actually to get the hands-on. So all the didactic or the classroom stuff is done, and now it is getting the hands-on practice for our own staff. We borrowed some stuff, right? We love to share all of our information. MEP, the Madison Emergency Physicians, or they're kind of partnered with the St. Mary's Hospital, the SSM group. Some of their services already have POCUS in place. So they shared some of their check-off things. So now it's up to our crew to become more comfortable with it. And then the goal is actually April 1st to get that on the ambulance.
No funny tricks that day, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
So I might be
come
April
on.
2nd, just so that I can say we're going to put it on. No, we're not.
No, in all seriousness, it'll be a great tool to have, but it's going to take a lot of experience to continue to use it and make it successful in its operation. So
Potential for it is still just huge
Right.
to get there. So we're starting really small in a very small scope, very small use. We'll get there.
I remind you, you can check that story out from last month on just the ultrasound itself. Patrick breaks it down really well on what it's used and how they were doing the training with that. So I suggest you watch that if you haven't seen that yet. Finally, I asked you for a safety message, and you're like, hey, Jeremy, have you heard about severe weather and ready.gov? And I was like, dude, do you not watch the show?
It's the hot topic, right? You know, we're
It
seeing
is.
these tornadoes and thunderstorms coming through the state of Wisconsin in February, unheard of. And I don't believe severe weather month is until May or June.
Hasn't come up yet.
Yeah, it's something like that. But again, tornadoes blew through last weekend, just a little farther south of us. So you can never be too prepared. So yes, ready.gov, phenomenal information. But even as I was digging around in there, I'm like, this is a great website. It drills down to those patients that we see. So waiting for, we need to be promoting this in addition to you as well, of patients who, with special needs, families with children with special needs, older adults. One that's on there is pets. People with pets, you know, most shelters, and people don't probably think about this, if you had to evacuate your home and stay into a shelter that the city of Fitchburg does put out and the county house put out, most of those shelters do not take pets. So it's actually coming up with a plan of what am I going to do with my pet if you're separated, a tornado comes through during the day and your kids are at the park, where are you all going to meet? So ready.gov, I'll say it again there, right? There's lots of information in there. You can go in there, you can fill it out. I'm still old, so I can print it, right? I'm printing the internet.
It's okay.
But you can fill it out, or if you don't have access to a computer at home, go to the library. There are fillable forms you can actually print out and take them home and fill them out. But it's that public service announcement of have a plan. Have a plan for your family, what's going to happen in case of a fire, a tornado, something at home.
Even a general ambulance visit. I mean, you're never ready to call 911 and know what the heck's going to happen. You know, we have things like File for Life that you can leave behind. You have those sort of things. But what is your plan? And you should plan for that. Whether it's pets, whether it's disability, it's kind of just looking and reviewing that plan too. Because it's one thing to make a plan, but actually reviewing it and continuing to do that over time and update it, not so easy.
Absolutely. When we go to, I love the File for Life that you brought up, right? You're a list of medications that's there for us, but it's only as good as the person who continues to keep it up to date.
My favorite is people printing it off and just printing off their med list.
Yeah.
You know, or you get your med list that, you know, if you check in with the doctor, just put that with the File Life. It works so much easier, especially if you're dealing with some tough times. I think that's my favorite one of seeing for my years of being on rescue.
Well, that's right. This is the good time to see our public, right? Because if you're calling us, that means you're not having a good day. I always feel bad walking in. How are we doing today? Because there's a reason you called, so you know your day is not going so well. But absolutely, in those moments of crisis, however you manage that, just being prepared, and regardless of age, back to our ready.gov, right? Kids are resilient when we have a plan, right? We have planned for this. Hopefully we don't have to deal with it, but where's our medication list? Again, back to the pets, right? I got some for children, right? What are we going to do with them? Who's going to take care of them if somebody ends up for an extended stay in the hospital? Someone's got to take care of those little pets.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's the sky's the limit when you're trying to prepare for every single disaster. But if you just want to hone it in, readywisconsin.wi.gov officially is the website. There is a ready.gov too.
Yes.
And since we're really pushing this, I want to make sure that we get both of them out there. Both have great resources, by the way, on everything he talked about. And yeah, it breaks it down by families, disabilities, functional needs, older adults, pets, and just protecting your life in general. So
Absolutely,
it's good information.
We love the go bags when we go to patients' houses, and right, we'll take your family and friends and whatever, and here is their go bag, right? All their medications and all the little things that they need to take care of themselves on the go.
All right, you've been warned. Be prepared, and it's not just for those tornadoes. It could be for anything. We went way deep here. We
did.
We went from tornadoes to just you showing up at their doorstep.
That's right.
Could be anything.
Day-to-day stuff.
All right. Thank you so much, Patrick. I really appreciate the time.
Always a pleasure.
We'll check back in next month.
Thanks, Jeremy.